Hey, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome to another edition of All Things Polly on Catalea Speaks. We have our special guests here, Christina and Jomar, and I'm going to do this like I always do this. I let my guests introduce themselves. So go ahead and tell everybody who you are, where they can find you on all of your social media platforms.
Go ahead, baby.
No, you always go first.
All right. Well, my name is Jomar, and we collectively are also known as the Poly Friends. So if you guys are looking for us in particular, you'll be able to find us at poly.friends on IG. And we have a Facebook group called Poly Friends, which we got about 5,000 members in a month. Like we're getting 200 to 300 requests every single day.
Yes.
So we also have a YouTube channel where we do a podcast called Polychat. And you can find us just by looking up Poly Friends Polychat. And also that podcast is available on anchor.fm/polyfriends. That was a very long intro, baby.
you forgot one more, your personal one.
My personal ones?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm a music producer, so my personal handle would be at the God of Production on Instagram. And you can find me, my personal stuff. My name is Jomezius as a performer. So it's Jomeezius, the genius. Jomezius the genius. So I think those are all the handles. You can find me, Jomezius everywhere, but that was pretty extensive. I didn't. Go ahead.
It's my turn, you guys. What's up? I'm Christina Monique. You gotta find me under poly.friends IG. So we both share that. Again, our Facebook group is Poly Friends as well. My personal IG, I'm a photographer here in Denver, Colorado. So my photography page is Monique Doge. That's DOGE photography. So if you ever need a photographer in Denver, Colorado, let me know.
And we do travel for special occasions as well.
Special occasions, just let us know. We'll see if you want to go.
Okay, that was a great introduction. Thank you guys for coming on All Things Poly.
Right.
I just wanted to give you guys and everybody out there a little synopsis on what started All Things Poly, because I've been getting a lot of emails and a lot of messages like, why did you decide to do All Things Poly? Well, a year ago, me and one of my best friends, Young Pharaoh, he will be on the show tomorrow. We did a live on Facebook Live in regards to poly. And we were just basically talking about the benefits of poly in the Black community, also in any community, but the emphasis was in the Black community at that specific time. Mm-hmm. And so it sparked this idea in my mind about doing a series called All Things Poly, because I wanted to get a conglomerate of poly people together, because we know that there are different forms of poly. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to get a whole bunch of people together who are actually practicing poly. We also are going to have people who are against poly, because I felt like, why just put pro poly stuff without putting people who are against it? Like that would be like, kind of putting, blinders on people's eyes. So I wanted to do that, and I wanted to see, what are the family dynamics? Do you get pushback and all of those things? So that is why I decided to do All Things Poly. Now, this will go on into February, into the first week of February. If possibly I get more people, then it'll go in through all of February. But my last person, we have Kevin Wesley. Everybody knows who he is. He's very well known. Him and his wives are going to be our closing to All Things Poly.
I can't wait to see that one. That was going to be a good one.
And we also, guess who we got? The pioneers of poly coming through. I'm super excited. I haven't posted their flyer yet because I'm waiting for their confirmation time. But we have the Porter family coming through. So I don't know if you guys know, but they've been everywhere. Yes, like I'm super excited. I wouldn't say they're the pioneers, but I think that they're the ones who really like shine the spotlight on poly because a lot of people wasn't looking at it. I'm gonna ask you a quick question. So, do you guys think that poly is gonna be like this new wave or this new wave of life coming up soon? Like, are we gonna see way more poly families than we've ever thought we would see?
Child, it's already here.
I know it is.
Yeah.
I know it's here, but I think it's going to be even bigger.
It is going to
It
get
is.
bigger. I've been poly for about 4 years. So before the Porter family, before who was the one who recently broke up?
Oh, the Polly Pattersons.
The Polly
Yeah, the
Patterson.
Pattersons.
So before all of these, I knew of couples or triads before them. So I've been doing this for a while. So I remember back in the day, it was the Taz Angels.
Taz Angels.
Do you know about them?
I don't.
So Taz Angels, they were more kind of sexualized, but they were considered sister wives. But they kind of started this like years ago. Like it used to have been polyfly was the hashtag for them. But
I remember that, yeah.
it's been a while. It's been around for a
Well,
while.
I know for a fact that in like the 80s and the early 90s, it was a huge influx of poly families.
I didn't
And
know.
a lot of people don't know that, especially number one, it was in the Black community. And so people think that this is something that's different, it's taboo, but it's been around for a long time. But I think now people are more open-minded in the idea of poly families just because of the state that our community is in. I know other communities that are not melanated people have been doing it, and they've broadcasted everywhere, and it's not a huge deal. But for some reason in the Black community, we received like a lot of pushback from our family, from our friends. The women are considered to be insecure, having mental issues because they want to go into these type of relationships. So what is the reason why you guys, decided? You said you've been doing it for a while, but collectively as a unit, what's one of the reasons you guys decided that this was the way of life for you?
That's a very good question. I would say first and foremost, it's about family for me. The way that I function as a man, I always put God, the universe, infinite power, whatever you want to call that energy first, then my family, and then myself. And I've always just really wanted a big family. And the divine feminine, I believe, is the most powerful energy on earth, the life givers. So like that's the energy that I thrive off of, that I pull from, and I draw inspiration for my creative projects and for my work here on planet Earth. So that's really the main reason why I say I'm in it, just really wanting to have a gigantic family and lots of kids and just really develop a tribe. And I just kind of wanted to touch on what you were saying earlier, about how there's an influx, because we have definitely noticed it, and we're seeing it because, we started that Facebook group, and we're seeing how fast it's growing. And it's just very fascinating to see the types of people that are coming in. And yes, it's a lot of melanated people. And I feel like that has a lot to do with, number one, our ancestors. I think that there's something in our DNA that we're predisposed to functioning in a certain capacity, which is developing a tribe. And also, I feel like a lot of people have been hurt in relationships by people not being honest and forthcoming, especially in the internet era. I feel like there's just so much access to so many different things that people, have been doing things underneath the surface. And I think a lot of us just got sick of that and just like, look, let's just be upfront about what we want in life with our partners. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't need to, participate. Can you hear us?
Oh yeah, I hear you.
Okay.
I was muting myself because my son was talking to me.
Just making sure, yeah, because we're using this microphone. Just want to make sure you could hear. But yeah, I mean,
that sounds great.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. So basically that's really what I believe it is. So I do believe there is a huge wave of people that are coming in. And I think that, platforms like this are at the forefront. So I really appreciate the opportunity for us to be able to speak and for us collectively to shine light on this love style, because I believe that it's it's a very powerful and beautiful thing when it really comes together.
And just to piggyback on that, that's why we want to be open and be like in the forefront, because some people are afraid to like live in their truth.
That's so true.
So we like to put ourselves up front. So it's like, it's okay. Not everybody's going to agree with it. There are some people who are anti-poly, and that's fine. You are entitled to your own opinion and your own feelings. Just keep it over there.
Right.
That's why we created our platform, so we can be able to show people it's okay. You can be you. If this is what you want, then, you know, live your own life. You're the number one player in your own life. Do what you want to do.
So why? Because you said you were you poly before you met him?
Yes, I actually was. Me and him met December 2019 and then got married 3 months after.
3 months after.
See, you're one of those stories that I talk about to people all the time. Because people think that it takes forever, you know, for you to know that this is the person that you're gonna live your life with. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times it doesn't take that, because sometimes the connection is there. Just a quick story. My uncle and my aunt met and they got married 2 weeks later. So, and they've been together for over 40 something years.
Oh, yes. That's
so
beautiful.
It's possible. It's definitely possible.
Yes. Yes.
So what was your reasoning for wanting to do poly? Because you met him before. So what was your whole thought process on it?
So for me, like, I got introduced to it in like basically like 4 years ago. I got introduced to it. So I didn't know about polygamy till then, but I was told about all the benefits and the pros and the cons. Like, they were just raw with me. So just simply like having a big family. Like, my family was really dysfunctional growing up. So being able to create a big family that is just loving, like I could break the cycle and create a new family who's very loving and nurturing. I always knew that I wanted a husband, but I also want a wife. So I'm one of the poly dynamics that it's not just him getting another wife. I want a wife for myself too. Like, I want her to be my girlfriend one day and then be my sister wife, but she'll be my wife. So I like the benefits. There's going to be 3 incomes, 3 different businesses we can be able to do together. We can be able to like build a community. You call it a commune among us. So shoot, I could have a girl who could do self-care with me. I could be able to have a girl. We could do our nails. We could cook together. We'll clean up the house. We can be able to go like work on our businesses together. Like, we could be able to find how to incorporate all 3 of us to be able to be together. So that's some of the benefits that I like in being poly.
So you guys are currently looking for a poly wife, right? Is that correct? So let everybody know, because pretty much people, you know, this platform is going to get huge. I'm letting you know right now. We're small right now, but I have so many connections, so many great people that I know who are big players and big hitters out there. So I know that my platform is going to get huge. So other people, they're going to hear this eventually one day. Mm-hmm. So let people know exactly what are you looking for in a poly wife.
It's a very good question.
You want to go first, or me?
It's a very good question. Go ahead, baby.
So I'm looking for somebody who's very ambitious, someone who's driven, so someone who has that drive, because I'm the same way. I'm trying to go get it. So I want somebody who's going to be loving and nurturing, that has to be very family oriented, because he wants 16 kids.
Oh, Lord, let me sip my coffee together.
He wants 16 kids, and he already have 3 from a previous marriage. So I need some help. But I need somebody who's going to be very family oriented, because that's what all of this is about, is just being a whole big commune. Someone who's nurturing, someone who's educated, or at least teachable. It's very important for them to be teachable. So, what else? I would like for them to know how to cook and clean. I know how to cook and clean. I kind of want them to match similar energies than us, because we are very spiritual in our own way.
Yes.
So we want somebody who it doesn't matter to us, like if they're like
their denomination. Like
it doesn't matter to us. Like, even if you just believe in the universe instead of like God, like we want you to at least believe in something. That's some of the things. What about you, baby?
Yeah, I wrote down her qualities in my manifestation book.
Oh, see, I like you. That's why give him a hand, everybody out there. He said manifestation and he wrote it down. Okay.
Yes, I did. So she will have these qualities. She will be non-judgmental. She'll be a creative person. Of course, loves kids and wants kids. A good listener. I'm a big home cook, so I would like to be able to cook with my wives. Me and Christina, we make phenomenal meals together. Like, we made this steak one time. Like, oh God. Anyways, of course, I want her to be beautiful, nice eyes, smile. She smells good. She's silly. We just laugh all the time. We're very, very, like 99%. We're not serious in our life. We just want to enjoy ourselves while we're here. I think I said business mind oriented already, because I've already created an enterprise. It's called Doge Enterprise, named after our last name, which is just an umbrella company that's going to basically be the main hub for all of the businesses that we form. So we've already formed Monique Doge Photography together. That's something that we run together. It is her business, but I am her partner and her assistant. Yeah. So I do show up to the photo shoots, and I basically am the bag boy. I hold the bags and the lights and all that. You know what I'm saying? I help out. I help out. You know what I'm saying? And we have a few other businesses that we're working on. We got a new apparel company that we've already got our printing machine together, and we're going to start printing poly merchandise. So that's
dope.
Within the next month or so. So we're expanding. So we just need really what we're looking for is someone to just basically add to what we already have. You know what I'm saying? So just like, the certain mindset that we have, we're very motivated people. We're huge foodies too. Being a foodie,
child, we could eat, but guess what? I lost 3 pounds.
Good job.
I'm a foodie too, y'all. I love to eat and all of that. But see, my thing is, I don't eat meat like that. So I have to think of like huge creative ways, to make something super delicious. And that will fit my lifestyle. So I'm a foodie. Okay.
So do you not eat meat at all?
No.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Just let it go.
I'm trying to get to at least back to pescatarian. I'm trying to at least get there and just let go of the meat. But we like our steak, boo.
The only time, like around the holidays time is when like you'll see me like getting some fish maybe, or something like that. But then it's like come January, I gotta kind of wean myself back out of it, because I'd be like trying to go back that way. I'd be like, no, let's go this way. So yeah. Makes sense.
Well, we're gonna stop probably eating meat for like a week or two, because I just ordered a juicer like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. Well, we're even though we're foodies, we are somewhat health conscious. We just completed like a fast, a few months ago. Christina decided to do, I think it was 3 days that you did.
I barely made it.
Yeah, it was a water fast, But she did good. She wanted to go longer, but I did 12 days, just water and sea moss
and bee pollen.
And it was.
I did 10, so I lost a lot of weight when I did 10. Yes. Oh my God. It was so hard.
All power to
I don't need to do 10 no more, because then I'm gonna like wither away. But I'm doing like 3 good days.
Child.
Nah, it was difficult. So kudos to you. It's not an easy thing to do at all.
So like what like okay, so you guys are dating and stuff right now, right? Y'all
Yes.
are dating people. Let's talk about it because
Okay.
this is gonna be interesting. I want to know like what are some of the things y'all are going through during this whole dating process?
Ciao.
Oh man.
First of all, let me tell you, we went on every dating app possible, pretty much, and it was horrible.
I hated it.
We even went back to the website that I went on a couple years ago because before my husband, I was in a poly relationship 3 years ago. So I lived with the couple. I was the one who came into the relationship. So we went on sisterwives.com and it was horrible. It was a waste of money. We went on Black, we went on OkCupid, we did Tinder for a little bit. Fielder, we did Bumble. Like we were just trying to see like who's out there. But then I want to say end of November or beginning of December, that's when I had the idea of creating a group and was asking him, like, do you want to do a poly group? So we met a few people through our poly group, but yeah, we haven't had major success. Like we were able to like talk to people like 2 weeks and that's it.
Tops.
Tops.
So what's been going on? What are some of the things that y'all are running into?
So the first one, you want to talk about the first one?
Who was the first one? I don't remember. Let's not say names.
I'm not saying no names.
All right. Was it the person that was on IG? Was it IG connection?
You forgot who. So basically the first one, she was more interested in me.
Oh yeah.
Than him.
I remember.
And it was getting obvious day by day that she was more into me, but she wasn't communicating as much. So it felt like she wasn't as interested, but she will talk to you for like 5 minutes and then all of a sudden, poof, she's gone. She just disappeared. So we experienced a lot of ghosting.
It was ghosting, yeah.
There was a lot of like it would seem cool the first day we talk and get to know each other, and then it would just disappear. So we encountered that. One of our last ones that we talked to, she seemed great. She seemed really amazing. She was very ambitious. She was like a nursing student.
She was a nursing student.
Yeah, she was a nursing student and all. And we shared some of the same values, but it wasn't all lining up for us. And then what ended up happening at the end, she does not handle conflict resolution very well. And let me tell you, conflict resolution, you need to find out at the beginning, can someone really stand the storm?
Right.
Like, are you going to be able to stick around, or the first time when things get tough, you're already out? Like, we don't need that.
Right.
We need somebody who's going to be committed. So what happened with her, we'll talk about that too. Basically what ended up happening, there was one night that came up and she said that she's going to message the both of us separately before she go to bed. So she messaged him and I'm here just waiting for my message. Like 5 minutes passed by, 10 minutes passed by. I was like, okay, maybe it's going to be a long message. My message never came through. So being in a poly relationship, you have to be open and communicate. So we are big on communicating our feelings. Like we have to tell each other how we feel. So I reached out to her and I told her, I'm like, hey, this did bother me. Like you told me you was going to message me and you only messaged him. It made me feel like FOMO, like fear of like missing out. So I felt like I was missing out. Like, why you only message him? But when I expressed myself, she felt like I was attacking her. And that was not what it was about. I was just telling you how I feel. So in the future, like, like, hey, message both of us before you go to bed, or else, like, you will hurt somebody.
Well, the thing is that, we're both pretty sensitive people, not sensitive in the aspect where it's like, everything is like has to be addressed, everything is an issue. No, we're like sensitive to the universe, we're sensitive to other people, like we're empaths, so to speak. So, there are things that could affect Christina or I maybe more than it would another. So in that moment, she did feel left out and it did hurt her feelings. She was like, why are you talking to my husband and not me? And I feel like, in a poly relationship, it does force you to look at things in yourself that maybe you wouldn't see in a monogamous relationship, where things will come up that you didn't even know were in there, certain insecurities, certain things that, would probably help you grow if you address them. So I think it's, poly relationships are good for that, for self-growth. So in that moment, when they were having that conversation, the girl then felt uncomfortable talking to me because she's like, well, if I talk to him, this is gonna make her feel some kind of way, and I don't know how to react to that. So it was a very interesting situation to be in. We do a lot of studies, we do a lot of research, on how to navigate through these type of relationships because they're not typical. There's not many examples, but we do study some people. So that's why we knew like who Kevin Wesley is, Polly Patterson's Trifecta Love.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? They're pretty dope. And we just kind of listened to how they deal with conflict resolution. So I stayed out of it when that happened. And but it was interesting to see that she just kind of disappeared where when there's a lapse in communication, and being that she was also long distance, there was nothing that we can do there. I was like, well, we were used to getting ghosted. That's what's been happening basically. Like people, like there'll be a spark, you know what I'm saying, of interest. And it's very rare that somebody will like, be on these dating apps looking for a couple, see a couple and be like, you know what, I want to approach them. It's been very, very rare. So when it does happen, there's an excitement that happens between all three of us. We're like, oh my God, this is so cool. There's three of us communicating about building something here. And then for whatever reason, the communication will lapse. And at that point, when the communication lapses, I'm kind of like, well, maybe we should just, be friends or move on or something, because to me, being in a poly relationship, communication is number one, and consistency of open communication. Because when we talk to these people, we're transparent, like so transparent to the point where, it's a certain level of vulnerability where we're telling these people things like that are other people would keep in a skeleton closet, you know what I'm saying? Just so that they understand the level of transparency that, we're bringing to the relationship and what we believe will set the proper foundation to create, a triad. So when we do that and then they disappear after 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, it's this interesting feeling. Like I just opened up to this.
It can be kind of draining, huh?
Yeah,
because you feel like you put so much out, but
Correct.
you didn't really get like anything back in. So.
Correct. You know what I'm saying? You know exactly what I'm saying. So we talked about taking a little break, but we're currently talking to one person. When we talk to somebody, we don't talk to numerous people at a time. We'll give that person, the attention and the opportunity to see what we can build without having too much other shit going on. So we have one person that we're talking to right now. She seems very nice. But we don't know. Like I said, like things could go great and then they're gone after 2 weeks. So
yeah, because you guys like been through that already, right?
Consistent.
And that's been like, cause I've had a couple of these interviews so far, and that it just brings something to my mind where, because I had TKO Capone and Armani, his longtime girlfriend. Pretty much you can call her his wife because they've been together for so long. And they were both saying pretty much the same thing that you guys were saying. Like they were getting to know these women and having great relationships with them, but then the women will kind of fade away. And Armani was saying for her that because she is more like a sensitive person as well, that she would miss that person, or she would miss that connection, miss that friendship that she had with them. So I can definitely understand. It's been 18 years. Sorry, 18 years. Judge Sonia said she corrected me. 18 years. But yeah, so they would really miss that person. So I could see like how you're trying to find somebody to come into your union and you're searching for that because you know that's what you want. So do you think like one of the things that's important is like really knowing what you want as far as the other person that's coming in?
Absolutely. Like you need to know what you want. You have to know like what qualities you're looking for, because when you start talking to them, it's almost like a checklist, but you don't want it to come off like an interview. Nobody wants to feel like they're being interviewed and they're only giving you like what you want to hear.
Right.
So
Yeah.
have you guys like, because this is the question that I ask everybody, even though you haven't particularly been in that situation as of yet, have you guys thought about how you guys would want your sleeping arrangements to go?
All in one bed.
Well, we've expanded upon that idea to where, we'll have a guest room readily available, for when any one of us could need some space, because it does happen. I even need space when it's just the two of us. I just need some me time. I know she needs her time, but yeah, ideally, I'd say 90% of the time we would like to have everyone sleep in the same bed.
98.
Yeah, because I'm a big man. I do need space. You know what I'm saying? I'm like 6'1", 250. Like I need.
You guys y'all need a huge bed. Then y'all gonna have to get a special made bed.
He talking about he needs space. He be all up cupped like this towards me. You don't need no space. He's fine.
You gonna put me out there like that?
Yo, you was
It's all right.
I almost got uppercut, like just
we love our cuddles. We do. I love my cuddles. I ain't gonna even front.
Like, tell the truth to these people.
No, but they have people have said California king beds, those are the giant ones, but they have ones even bigger than that. You can get them custom made. So I believe the universe always, it expands to your situation. So when that time comes where we need to, we'll make that happen. You know what I'm saying?
That's funny because out of all the poly couples that I've interviewed, every single one of you guys has completely different sleeping arrangements going on.
Really?
My previous poly relationship, the way we had it set up was we had 2 different rooms, and the man, he would sleep in one room one day, the other room the other day, and on the weekends we used to all sleep together. I personally didn't like it. I wasn't feeling it. I wanted all of us to be together, but every poly relationship is different. So
that's why I'm asking these questions, because I know people are like, you kind of asking the same questions, but I ask the same questions pretty much because I want people to know that it's different dynamics.
It is.
Not every poly relationship is going to be the same thing. Not everybody is going to have the same structure. And I kind of just wanted to, debunk that myth, So,
it's true.
So I wanted to ask you, we're going to because I told y'all, you said I can ask y'all any questions,
anything,
right?
Yeah.
So,
I said
that. Okay, yeah, no, we're good.
So let's talk about sex. Okay. So what is your sexual dynamic for your poly relationship? Like, because some people think, like all the other poly couples that I spoke with, the women were not bisexual, but are you bisexual?
I'm bisexual. I guess that I don't like labels per se, but in society terms, I would be considered bisexual. So sexually, I would want someone I could be intimate with. He could be intimate. All of us could be intimate. Like I want it to be. It's like 4 relationships with one. So it's going to be me and her, him and her, me and him, all 3 of us together.
Okay. So y'all heard it. See, y'all hear everybody has something different as far as sex goes. Because I thought like, I remember initially me thinking about poly meant that the women were bisexual. And so most people think that coming into a poly situation that the women are all bisexual and they're having like these huge orgies and everybody is just doing it's all about sex.
No way.
So I just wanted to, that's why I asked these particular questions, because I want people to see that sometimes that's not where everybody's mind is going. Now we know that we have those couples who have, you know, huge sexual appetites. And so that's why they go into those particular unions. But you guys don't strike me as that type of couple. That's why I asked, like, why did you want to be poly? And you know, because a lot of people are not honest with themselves about these type of things.
Well,
So
we don't want to, like, what we discussed before, we don't have sex as a main focus. Like, even if we meet somebody and we want to be serious with them, we are not going to have sex with them till we're married. So in our ideal world, like, we'll meet someone, we'll want them to be our girlfriend, and then when the time comes, we will like to, like, I sacrificed my own wedding. I didn't have a wedding when we got married. So I wanted to wait to get like a wedding when I find another woman who's going to be in our union, for all three of us to have a big wedding. Like, I know legally we can't do it, but we could still have a ceremony. We could still have our wedding. We could have a reception. We'll have our own vows for the three of us. So in our ideal world, like, sex is not important because it's going to be all the way till the end. We just focusing on like an emotional chemistry connection.
That's
so have
true.
you guys thought about like the legal aspects? Because I know it's not legal for, you know, for us or anybody out there to get married in a
Right.
poly union. So have you guys thought about that? Like, what legal aspects are you guys going to try to take to make sure that should something happen that everybody's taken care of?
It's a very good question. Well, you know, honestly, from what I've seen, just from my research, a lot of people in the poly community are LGBTQ plus, and those people, you know, are allowed to by law get married. So I feel as though, being that there's such an influx in poly relationships, eventually it will have to be addressed. You know what I'm saying? Because there are people who have desires like us to actually make that level of commitment with more than just one person. So, I mean, in reality, you know, we keep the legal aspects of it, you know, to ourselves. Like, me and Christina are legally married by the government. Obviously, our wife, we won't be able to have her be a legal wife, but, you know, we'll still make it to where we've been married under God. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Which is what really matters, in my opinion. So once that union takes place, you know, anything that's, you know, on man's earth is not as important as what the universe is putting it forth for us. So I feel like at some point, when those things are addressed, where we need to put up that fight so that we can have the same rights as everybody else, we'll be at the forefront of it.
We'll be
We've
there.
talked about it, but we haven't like made the decision to actually be active in that sense, where we're starting to be a proponent to put that out there like that. Because when the time comes when we have someone that we want to do that with, and we do that, then I think that would be the more appropriate time to start addressing those issues.
Yes.
Well, for me, like, you know, I've been doing a lot of research this last year before I actually started the All Things Poly series. And in some of my research, I've seen that a lot of poly couples, it may be two people that are actually married, but then they go through these legal binding contracts with their attorneys to make sure that everybody will be taken care of. Like, everybody's going to, you know, be okay should something happen.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
Interesting.
I've seen where they've actually taken the other wife who had children by the husband, and they gave them her own health benefits by herself with the children, so that way the wife and the children, the other wife and the children, has health benefits too. So people think, like, you know, somebody's going to be missed out, but there are actual ways that you can go around it,
Mm-hmm.
legally, to make sure that everybody is taken care of.
I like that.
I'm writing this
You
down.
writing that down.
Well, yeah, I did that. You've heard of that too, behind. What's up, Al? Thank you for the compliment, everybody. So at any time, all the audience that's out there, I see you guys talking and communicating with each other. They can't see the comments, but I can. So at any time, if any of you have any questions, I can go ahead and relay those questions too as well. It's not just me answering questions. I know a lot of people out there are curious about this whole situation, which is why I decided to do this series. So that everybody can ask whatever questions you guys want to ask. Jomar and Christina already told me that they're pretty transparent. So if you guys have any questions, just don't feel free to type them there. And if you're on YouTube, for the people who are on Facebook, for some reason, Facebook was loading your comments and your questions, but I can't see them right now. So it would be advisable for you, if you do have questions and you are on Facebook, just go to my Facebook page, click on the YouTube link, and just come on over here to YouTube, and you can ask all the questions that you need to ask. So you guys don't have like any crazy stories of like physically meeting somebody and something going wild and crazy with you guys?
Yes.
When I met him, it was a quad. When I met him, there was 2 other women, and I was the third one coming in.
The third woman, the fourth person with the third
fourth
woman.
person, third woman coming in when I met him. So we actually have this the same mutual friend. We have the same best friend, and we always heard like stories about each other, but we never met. But one day I went over. It was December 6th, 2019. I went over to my.
Dang, she remembered that day.
It was in the afternoon, girl.
Some kind of impression on her for her to remember the exact day. But go ahead.
Yeah.
But I heard his voice. He was talking to him. I heard his voice, and then he was like, "Oh, he's a polygamist," and I'm like, "Really?" I used to been a polygamist. At the time, I wasn't rocking with being poly because I was heartbroken. My last poly relationship broke my soul. Like I didn't want no parts of the community for like 3 or 2.5 years. And then he was like, my friend.
Judge Sonia said, so what? That means you took him from the other ladies?
No, I did not, child. They did that to themselves. Don't do that to me.
Something like that.
One of them was psycho. Let me tell you. One of them was psycho.
She was crazy.
There was something wrong with her. You can't tell me this girl was on meth. I'm telling you.
There was something slightly off about her. She had some kind of mental issues. I was with her, the first woman, the psycho chick. I was with her first. It was me and her. And then we brought in the other girl who we nicknamed Big Booty. Big Booty came in, right? Mm-hmm. All right.
She had a big booty.
And then Christina came in. And the thing is, Psycho Chick and Christina didn't get along at all.
No.
So that was my first one. That was when I was with originally. So when they were having the bickering sessions, of course, I'm like smack dab in the middle. And then, Psycho Chick is telling me like, no, she just wants to break us up. She doesn't want to really be with us. She wants to be with you, which was true, but she didn't want to break us up because she didn't make an effort. Christina made a solid effort, okay? Even though she didn't like her at all. You can defend your case. Like she connected with Big Booty. Christina connected with Big Booty. I
love Big Booty. Me and Boo, let me tell you. No, I need to move this microphone closer to me.
We should probably give her a different nickname.
I know.
First of all, let me tell you something. When I came into it, I wasn't trying to be in a relationship. I loved his voice. His voice is very seducing to me. I love his voice, but I wasn't trying to just jump into a relationship. Yes, he was poly, but I was like, oh, cool. Something that we both have in common. So I was like, maybe he could be a friend. And then he told me how he's trying to create a quad. So he was telling me about Psycho Chick, and everything he was telling me, something didn't seem right. Like, you just know. And I'm a very gifted person. I know when something's not right, and something was off about her. So me and her, we didn't vibe very well at all. And she used to gun for me. Like, she was very jealous. she became very jealous of me when I came into the picture. But I did give her multiple chances, and then all of a sudden she would get mad at me. She used to talk about my weave. She was Caucasian. She used to talk about my weave. She was saying how, oh, you wasted money going to college. Like there was no purpose for your degree when she didn't even have a high school diploma. I'm just saying.
They used to go at it.
She used to go for my, try to say I'm stupid for going to college and she didn't have a high school diploma. But I'm not trying to be petty. But me and Big Booty, me and Big Booty, we had a great time together. Like I met Big Booty before I met him face to face. So she invited me to an event and me and her clicked. Like we were like old friends. So I really wanted like me, her, and him to work. But she is a huge alpha female. And with a man like him, don't let this pink shirt fool you. He's very dominant and he has to be the king and the leader. And you have to follow his lead. And she's the one that always takes the lead all the time. So it's just she went too hard. She went too hard. And then she tried to pull me away from him.
Right.
So me and her to be sister wives and find a new king. Yeah. And I was like, no, I want him.
Yeah, that's that's basically what happened. Like I'm not a person who, you know, doesn't, how do I say this? I need from my wife. I need like her to let me know how I'm feeling. You know, I follow her lead sometimes, you know what I'm saying? But you know, that particular situation, she was basically trying to take my place. It was so interesting. She was trying to, she challenged me so often. Like, I don't mind being challenged, but she challenged me so often to the point where she tried to take Christina from me.
Because she was probably, because you said you guys clicked so well, so she was probably more in love with you, Christina, than she was with him. So it probably was like this battle for Christina type thing.
I don't know.
I don't think so, because in reality, at the end, she wanted him for herself.
Oh, really?
Okay. Apparently, there was some talk behind my back that I didn't know, and he came and told me about it. I didn't know she was feeling a certain type of way about me because I used to try to get all three of us to hang out, go on dates and everything, and I used to love how all three of us like interact with each other. But apparently, she felt like she wanted him for himself in reality. Realized she couldn't get him, so she tried to get me.
Right.
So she just has some kind of agenda. It was so confusing. Her agenda confused the shit out of it. So,
yeah,
so now you guys know, be very cautious. Make sure you ask plenty of questions. Yes. And make sure that everybody is really genuinely on the same page.
Yes.
When going into these unions. And then another thing that I say, this is for everybody out there who is considering this. Do you see how Jomar and Christina, they have pretty much mastered being together as a couple? Mm-hmm. So I feel like if you cannot master one union, there is no point to try to bring other people in.
Amen. Thank you for saying that.
You have to be able to have something solid with that one person, right? Then the two of you can build something solid with someone else. And this is a major problem, just period, in our community, because we have so many men and women who are not even, they can't stay in relationships together for let alone 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's like one day you're with somebody and then the next month you're like, oh, we broke up. You know what I'm saying? So it's very important for you guys to be able to, everybody out there, master one relationship, especially you men out there who are trying to consistently pressure women into coming into these unions. Because I had a situation like that where I was in a relationship and we couldn't even get it together. And it was like just this huge pressure of him trying to make me be poly. I'm like, but yo, bro, you can't even master our relationship.
Right.
How you can't even lead me. You're not doing what you need to do as a man. So how can you expect me to want to go into a poly union with you? Clearly, it's because you haven't been able to master your sexual desires.
Wow.
You
You
get
better
what I mean?
preach this word. She's
So
preaching the
sexual
word.
desires need to be something that we need to work on individually. Like, because I'm going to tell y'all right now, okay, I'm a single woman in Houston, all right? And these men is fine out here, okay, girl? Like, when I tell you fine, I mean, girl, I was breaking okay? But I have been able to master my sexual desires, and I know that I need to be focused on all of my goals. And so that's why you don't see me out here in these streets stomping around, because I'm being very disciplined in what it is I want. And I know what I want when I do find my king. I don't call him my king. People say king. I call the man that I'm going to be with, he has to be a god, because I'm a goddess. So when I do find him, now I'll be ready. So a lot of you guys need to work on being everything that you want your partner to be.
Yes. One thing I would add on to that, what we do, we work on ourselves. We are really big on self-care and self-growth. So we work on ourselves individually. We both have therapists on our own. Like, we really big on self-growth. So when we take care of ourselves, we're gonna do better taking care of each other. And it falls in place.
Big facts.
So we're going on, like, we're almost at our hour mark.
Yes.
So 2 questions before we go.
Okay.
Yes.
Number 1, what would you tell people? What would be your advice? Because you guys are in the stages where a lot of people are going to be.
Yeah, man.
And that means you're looking to bring somebody into your union. So what would be your advice to people who are looking to go into a poly union? Like, just the full, like, spectrum of vetting, of the vetting process, the full spectrum of, where you are, how, what you feel like they need to be focused on when doing this.
My biggest piece of advice is don't settle. Like, don't feel like you have to settle just because someone is interested in you. Somebody's looking at you and they want to be a part of you. That doesn't mean you have to settle for them just to achieve being poly and having a union. Like, you want somebody who's going to be able to, like, put in a lot of effort, a lot of love, a lot of care. Like, you're going to need somebody who's going to be in the trenches with us. So my piece of advice would be don't settle. What about you?
I would say, since I can come from the male perspective, what I would say is, men out there, make sure that you know where you stand with you and your woman. If you guys are not doing well, you feel like you want to bring somebody else in because you think that would help, it's going to make things worse. Okay. So make sure you and your lady are good on the same page. And then when you're trying to bring somebody else in, make sure that you're being 100% forthcoming and honest in what you're saying. We really value open communication. And also be ready. You have to be ready to look at yourself in the mirror, because you're going to be tested. Things like insecurities are going to come up, and you're going to need to look at yourself and address those things and not be afraid to do so. And you're also going to have to face things like jealousy, which is a normal human emotion that you will feel when you're bringing in another person. And you're going to have to learn different ways to deal with those emotions. So just make sure that, you're constantly, working on your self-awareness and your self-growth, okay, while you are in this process, because it's going to be tested. You will be tested. So just be ready for that portion, is what I would say. That's my best advice.
So what do you feel like, the man that is having these type of unions, do you feel like one of the characteristics that the man in any poly union needs to exhibit is leadership qualities and leadership skills?
Absolutely, without a doubt. Like, he needs to be able to lead the pack. Like I made sure like we have like a code of ethics. What is it, like a code of ethics?
I guess you call it that, baby.
Basically, when we first met, I asked him a whole bunch of questions to find out like what do you want our foundation to be? And he was able to tell me everything to the T of everything that he wants, and what he wants in a woman, what he wants in a triad, how he wants it to operate. So you need somebody who's going to be a leader, who's going to lead the pack, and we can be able to rely on him and depend on him. So that's very important, to have a strong leader.
So
Agreed.
as the leader, do you feel like that being in a poly union is like a strong, how do you put it? It's like a very big role, like it's like a strong role of responsibility.
Yes, it does take a significant amount of patience, and it takes sacrifice too. You know what I'm saying? And you have to really be able to be a good listener and be a good support. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, you have to be able to look inward. You have to be able to do things a lot of people are scared to do, which is look in the mirror. You know what I'm saying? Because you can be focused on, your relationships with people, but your relationship with people is a direct correlation with your relationship with yourself and the universe. You know what I'm saying? So like this morning, I was listening to I am affirmations, I am God. I am God. I am God. Those things are the things I tell myself, to make sure that I'm always on point. Because if I'm not on point, how can I lead anybody anywhere? Why would my wife trust me to lead? Why would my children trust me?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm constantly looking to evolve as a man. I journal, I read. I've been listening to the new Obama book. I got to plug that. Promised Land. It's an amazing piece of work by Barack. We love Barack, by the way. Shout out to the Obama family. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so just that's what I would say to the gentleman. Like, you're not going to be perfect, bro. Like, don't expect perfection. You're going to make mistakes. It's just how you deal with those mistakes. You know what I'm saying? How do you address things when they come up you didn't expect? You know what I'm saying? So constantly make sure that you're being patient, that you're listening, and that you're working on self.
Yes.
So yeah, that was one of the things I thought that was important. I wanted to highlight, because it's a lot of you brothers out there who claim that you want a poly union, but there's a lot of you who think that you have strong leadership skills, but it takes a level of discipline. And sometimes a lot of you are not disciplined. I see it every single day. I'm going to college to be a doctor in psychology. And so I actually study people. And I see a lot of these brothers who's yelling and screaming poly, but you can't master your finances.
Mm.
You don't know how it is to build a business.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know how it is to build wealth. That's important. How do you expect to have 2, 3, 4, 5 wives when you don't know how to build wealth?
Yes.
I've seen brothers in the poly community literally live off the women. I've seen that.
It happens.
Interesting. I've heard about that.
Yep, all the women will work and he stays.
Yes, I've seen it. So it's like I did this series because I want men who are pressuring their women to be in these poly unions to really take a long, hard look at yourself and see why you don't deserve it, bro. You just don't deserve it.
It's not as easy as it looks, brother, and it ain't everything is cracked up to be, my friend. It's not.
Sure ain't.
It's a challenge, man. You're taking on, an extra beyond what you have just by yourself. So yeah, if you can't handle yourself, then what you doing, man?
Exactly. Exactly. That is the point here. If you can't handle you, there is no point.
No point.
Not at all.
And I'm a handful.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I'm a lot to handle on a day-to-day basis.
Understatement of the decade.
Don't start.
So before we get out of here, do you guys have any closing remarks that you would like to tell people? Go ahead and give them your Instagram, your social media again, and we're gonna get out of here.
Cool. All right. Good, baby.
Facebook group. It's Poly Friends. Like, we growing really big, and eventually we're gonna have merchandise. So definitely, we got some dope merchandise logos and all too. So look out for that. What else, baby?
Yeah, just you can check out our podcast. We do podcasts every Monday at 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We go live on our Poly Friends page. So just send us the request on the Poly Friends page on Facebook. That's probably the best way to get involved with everything that we're doing, because we post most of our information there. And you can find us on the IG, poly.friends. And then again, we do have the podcast that we record on anchor.fm/polyfriends, as well as the YouTube channel, Poly Friends. Polychat is the name of the podcast.
Yes.
So.
All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for coming. I really did enjoy talking to you guys. I think it was very informative. So hopefully for all of you poly couples looking to bring in poly unions, they hopefully they gave you some insight on the early stages of poly. So everybody have a great day. Love and light. It's your girl Catalay and Deuces family.
Thanks,
bye, y'all.
Love.